Greetings, champions! Thanks to the Titan discs, we now know that Azeroth was imprisoned and put to sleep by the Titans. The discs also speak of the Titan Keepers having constructed a series of machines and the so-called manifold to supposedly heal Azeroth. I think the true purpose of the manifold is to power all Titan forges and installations with the energy of Azeroth itself. And among these installations there is one that acts like an electric fence. Only this one has separated the other seas from the primordial continent of Kalimdor. How did I get to that? Well, do you know of a maximum security prison without a fence and without guards? It wouldn't make much sense to go to all this trouble to build the world core, just to leave all the entrances to the prison open, would it? And it's not as if the Titans don't have such technology. Let's think of Tyr's Hold. The forge there has hidden the Dragon Isles for millennia without the dragons finding them again on their own. Conceal, hide, and imprison. This is absolutely Titan business. From the reports we read in Dragonflight about a pirate, a green dragon, and most recently from the survivors Arathi in Hallowfall, we know that they all had to fight against terrible storms on their journeys. It is not just the world core that is a prison. The entire continent was built as a prison for all life forms. Let's talk about which new continents outside of our Titan prison we will see in the near future. A whole new world is waiting for us. Because I think some of you may have doubts about Azeroth being much bigger, let's take a look at one of the most interesting lore books in the game. The annotated copy of the Old Gods and the Ordering of Azeroth. On page 6 we learn that something exists beyond the waves. But let's take a listen.
The Titans empowered a number of races to help them fashion the world. To help them carve out the fathomless caverns beneath the earth, the Titans created the dwarf-like earthen from magical, living stone. To help them dredge out the seas and lift the land from the sea floor, the Titans created the immense, but gentle sea giants. For many ages the Titans moved and shaped the earth, until at last there remained one perfect continent. A note has been scribbled on the page.
The author of this tome is either a liar or a fool. Were they truly ignorant of that which lies beyond the waves? Or were they merely commanded to spread Titan propaganda?
Which lies beyond the waves. Interesting, right? Many have also heard of the mysterious Avaloran. Let's listen to the Wreckage analysis report from Uldaman.
Prime Designate. I am writing to confirm that the wreckage discovered on our shores was indeed the remains of our most recent expedition to Avaloran. There were no survivors. This marks the third failed attempt to reach that accursed place in the time since I assumed my post. While I would not presume to question either your authority or your determination, I pray to the Titans that the rumors I hear of a fourth expedition are mere speculation rather than fact. Surely you can see that further pursuit of the heretics is folly. Yes, they must be made to answer for their crimes against Erinethria and the other keepers, but their defenses are not to be underestimated. The resources required to breach their lines are simply beyond our current capabilities. At least, not without jeopardizing containment of the prisoners in our charge. Though I agree there is risk in allowing their strength to grow, evidence suggests that the aggressive nature of the heretics will cause them to turn on one another and weaken their resolve. If we can be patient, an opportunity for retribution will present itself. I beseech you, Prime Designate, let the fire of your wrath cool, at least for now. Its embers will be rekindled in due time. If not, I fear that I will soon be authoring yet another report of a lost expedition, its final remnants dashed upon rock and wave. With all respect, Watcher Parathales.
The Wreckage report was sent in triplicate and addressed to the Prime Designate. However, It is not clear when exactly it was written. It could have been sent to Prime Designate Odin or to the later Prime Designate Loken. The report also writes about the aggressive nature of the heretics and that they will turn against themselves sooner or later. I strongly believe that the report went to Loken, because in his time tier and his loyal followers and probably these heretics fled from him. Also, when I think of aggressive nature, I think of light. When I think of betrayal, it can only be the void. Maybe they worship both. An Anshi-Elune situation, if you will. The report also does not give any information about the shore. Therefore, unfortunately, we cannot determine the exact direction. The Titans have their bases and forges all over the ancient continent of Kalimdor. Avaloran could be in the west, east, or south. I rule out anything north of Ulduar and therefore Northrend. Not because I don't believe that there could still be an Arctic, but because fugitives would try to get as far out of the Titan's reach as possible. Let's hear another source for unknown continents. This time the legend of the Nightsquall.
By now ye all know the many legends, O Captain Nightsquall. The wild-eyed night elf who ran away from his forest home as a boy to sign on with a hardy pirate crew. How through boldness and treachery he rose up the ranks to claim a ship o' his own. Never was there a more daring captain in all the seas than the Nightsquall. He sailed through the mists to Pandoria an age before the Alliance and Horde ever found it, and made a fortune hauling kegs o' brew to the far corners of the world. He plundered the treasure rooms o' old King Rastakhan, and sacked Kul Tiran villages right under the noses o' those haughty Proudmoors. Nightsquall has raided more islands in the South Seas than any captain who ever sailed. They say he stashed so much gold beneath the sands o' Tel Abyb that the island now rises 10 feet higher than when he first landed on it. But don't he be thinking about stealing his booty now? Menace the tale o' a greedy lass or laddie who tried to outsmart the Nightsquall, only to end up feeding the fishes. Ye've heard these stories 1,000 times, I know. Legends traded from one deckhand to another, until one might think the tales grew in the telling. Some might wonder if they could even have a grain o' truth between 'em. Well, let me tell ye, they be true as starlight. I sailed with the Nightsquall for a spell, and seen him do all these things and 100 more. O' course, ye've likely heard the greatest tale o' them all. How after building a brand new flagship, he set sail for the west, promising not to return until he'd seen all there was o' the world and taken his share. That was years ago, and many tides have passed without so much as a whisper. Even an old salt like me started to wonder if he'd met his match. That what they say about the western storms be true, that monsters and magic make the ocean impossible to cross. That in payment for his pride, it was now Nightsquall who be feeding the fishes in the halls o' Neptulan. But hear me now, and know I be speaking true. The Nightsquall has returned. He ain't telling tales o' what he seen on his journeys, but the hulls o' the ships that made it back be full to bursting with treasures like ye've never seen before. And that ain't all. The Nightsquall says he's got a new prize in his crosshairs. And to claim it, he aims to build the biggest pirate fleet the world has ever known. So whether ye be Irontide or Bloodsail, Defiers or Freebooter, all are welcome to sail under the Nightsquall's flag. Follow him as your new admiral, and no navy on Azeroth will have a prayer against us. It all starts with the Dragon Isles. Plunder its secrets in the name o' dread Admiral Nightsquall, and from there, the world is ours for the taking.
A bold, wild-eyed, night elf pirate, plundering and hoarding treasures? can't wait for a great pirate expansion to happen. But let's focus on what the book had to say. It is a story about a daring pirate captain. He plundered the islands of the South Seas more than all other pirates put together. He is said to have buried a huge treasure on Telebim, maybe even the One Piece, who knows. He also stole the treasures of old Rastican and the Proudmoors from under their noses. With his new flagship, he sailed west, with a vow not to come back until he has seen everything there and made some big booty. This is also the first time that the Western Storms are mentioned. When the Dragon Islands awoke, he returned with rich loot and kept quiet about his adventures in the West. Now he is assembling a new fleet to plunder even more of the riches of the New World. Maybe he and his fleet discovered Avaloran. Or maybe he discovered another landmass. But the fact that he came back with treasures indicates clearly that he must have encountered a civilization there. Therefore, it's safe to say that the western side of Azeroth inhabits life untouched by the influence of the Titans. Alright, we have one tale left. A story about a young green dragon who wanted to fly west across the storming sea. The tragedy of Erinethria.
In the days when the kingdom of dragons was young, brave Erinethria's emerald wings soared above the clouds. The fastest flyer of her day, she feared no enemy, nor would she back down from any challenge. Alas, her courage would be her undoing. Erinethria had flown to the far corners of Kalimdor and back. She had witnessed wondrous sights, and loved to share stories of them with her kin. Yet there came a day when Erinethria felt she had seen all there was to see of the world. She grew bored, restless. Erinethria sought the wisdom of Keeper Tyr. Great Keeper, is there any mystery left for me to discover? Any riddle yet to be solved?
Everything you need is here, child. What more could you want to see? What else could you seek to know?
As the dragon's brow furrowed, a cool wind blew in from the west. The breeze, Great Keeper. I wish to see the place from whence the winds are born. Tyr grew solemn.
Beyond the storming sea lies only ruin. Stay close to home. Stay close to kin.
Tyr's warning hung like a shadow over Erinethria's heart. It clashed again and again with her deep yearning for answers. One bright morning, the green dragon bid farewell to her clutchmates. Fear not, she told them, for I can fly higher than any storm, faster than any thunder, and when I know from whence the west winds come, I shall return home and tell you all. And with that, Erinethria soared into the sky. Moons passed, and still more, yet brave Erinethria did not return. Even Ysera woke from her dreaming to aid in the search, but there was no sign to be found. Most believed that Erinethria was lost to the storming sea, that her mighty wings grew tired and torn by the harsh winds, and that she tumbled into the roiling waters. But some Greens claimed that they saw her in their dreams, that she reached a land beyond, where she raised a brood of her own. Surely, after all these ages, we must accept the truth of her loss. While we honor her courage, we must remember the wisdom she failed to heed. Beyond the storming sea lies only ruin. Stay close to home. Stay close to kin. Beware, beware the wind from the west. Its call holds only doom, for if you take wing across storm and sea, you shall share Erinethria's tomb.
Good news, everyone. We have at least one new continent waiting for us to discover in the west, and also a whole new dragonflight. But I still hope that the Nightsquall and Erinethria discovered two separate continents, and we get big new areas in the future. Okay, these were the stories told in Dragonflight. Let's check out the continent of the Arathi Empire. Unfortunately, we don't have much information about the Arathi Empire. However, we have statements from Faer and Lothar that the Empire is a force to be reckoned with, that the Hallowfall expedition was almost destroyed by a storm, and that they have knowledge of the old world. The lore books also contain some interesting clues. Let's take a listen.
The Song of Renelesh, Chapter 11. 15. The Arathi, guardians of the sacred flame, formed the Aegis shield, a constellation of courage against the encroaching darkness. Their resolve, a beacon in the night, as stars began to fade into shadow.
A gigantic shield to protect yourself from the encroaching darkness. Sounds exciting, but it is not clear whether the shield already exists or will be built in the age of Renelesh, i.e. in midnight. You also have to see that the book begins in Chapter 11. It would be interesting to know what information about the Empire and Renelesh the previous 10 chapters contain. Let's take a look at the next book.
Beladar, the Emperor's Vision. Brave souls, heed the sacred flame's call to voyage beyond the storming sea and Titan's Isle. A radiant light shall beckon. Face the trials of Hallowfall. Let the sacred flame's unwavering faith be your anchor. The Arathi Empire, since its inception, has thrived under the sacred flame's prophetic guidance. Our Emperor, interpreting these divine visions, commands us to fulfill or forestall events of prophecy. Thus, our empire has flourished.
An island of the Titans and the storming sea. Could this be Galganeth? He is also called the Thunderer and a member of the Titan Pantheon. He is known as the Lord of the Skies and Roaring Oceans. This island sounds suspiciously like a Titan facility. It ensures that the sea route to Kalimdor becomes impassable due to storms. Think of the Tidestone and what it could do. Ashara's forces stole the unguarded Tidestone of Galganeth. It was used in the Fourth War to open a gigantic rift within the ocean and around Nazjatar, trapping the forces of the Alliance and Horde in Queen Ashara's domain. A clear indication that the Titans have a hand in this. Furthermore, there are 2 pages in the book of Arathi Proverbs that give us further clues about the home of the Arathi.
The Big Book of Arathi Idioms. Lothar's Landing. Duke Lothar annexed the island of New Light, sparking an economic boom in the Empire. Lothar's Landing became an idiom for hopeful but uncertain trade or diplomatic initiatives by the Empire, often said with dripping sarcasm when the venture fails to find success. Laurel's Crossing. This is based on an old Arathi fairy tale about a young woman whose town on the frontier fell to raiders. Laurel is a young craftsperson who uses her skills to outwit various dangers as much as she uses her military training. This specific idiom refers to crossing a natural barrier to find a place of safety where one could settle and work. Laurel's crossing of the river Aelria left the wolves snapping not at her heels, but at each other's tails. Laurel has become a popular name among Arathi in the northwest provinces.
Duke Lothar annexed the island of New Light, and after that the economy in the empire flourished, which means that the inhabitants must be wealthy and have many valuable resources. It is also written that they engage in trade and diplomacy, which can only mean that other humanoid creatures also live on the continent. Perhaps to have diplomatic ties to the Titan Heretics? The tale of Laurel's Crossroads speaks of a town in the so-called frontier that was attacked by raiders. According to the saying, Laurel is a popular name in the northwestern provinces. If there are northern and western provinces, then it can be concluded that there must be southern and eastern provinces. I think we will see an empire in the next expansions that is strongly based on Rome. Fanatical, militaristic, and expansive. It will not be an Arathi kingdom, but a real empire. An empire that will probably take a look at our world at some point. Since you've made it this far, you might as well subscribe and give me a thumbs up. In return, I'll tell you a secret. I found a lady on Tinder, and on our first date, she told me she worked for Blizzard. A few dates later, she made me a map of what Azeroth really looks like. See for yourself. We're getting huge island groups in the South Seas and a new massive continent on the back of Azeroth. I thought she was lying to me at first, but then I watched the cinematic with Sargeras again. But let's watch it together. Silithus is known to be located in southern Kalimdor, but we only see the upper half of the planet. The angle also suggests that Azeroth is a fairly large planet and still has a lot of space at the back. So we assume that we will still be able to explore areas both in the south and on the back once the tyrannical grip of the Titans has finally been broken. Do you think I'm right? Do you have a better theory about the new world? Let me know in the comments below. I say goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.